Good morning, class. Today is Tuesday, the 12th of May, so happy Tuesday. We are on week 32, day 2 of our daily language review, and let's go through and make those corrections really quickly. We have, in May 1776, a woman named Betsy Ross sewed the first American flag. We have just two things wrong with that sentence. First of all, May is a month, so it's capitalized, and sewed is spelled correctly. That's the kind of sew that you sow seeds. This is the kind we want. She used a needle and thread, so S-E-W-E-D, sewed the first American flag. On June 14th, 1777, the Congress agreed on what the flag would look like. June 14th, 1777, the Congress agreed on what the flag would look like. That's awkward. It's an awkward sentence. But it still makes sense. So really just the comma right there, because you have to have the comma separating the day from the year. Otherwise, the numbers can all run together too easily. So those are the only corrections on that. For the bottom part of your daily language review, you are underlining the meaning of the word national. Does it mean of relating to a nation, or of or relating to a colony? And national would relate to nation, because nation is the base word. Underline the word that means to put in order. The stars were arranged in a circle, in rows, or into one big star. Arranged means to put in order, so you would underline the word arranged. I hope you're listening to Keys for Kids still. It's a very valuable devotion, and that's something you can do for the rest of the summer. They also have, on Keys for Kids, they're also doing a summer reading program in which you can participate if you want to do that. For spelling this week, you found out the organizing your words. Most of our words start with a W, and they are spelled with either a W-A, which makes a wah sound, a W-A-R, which makes a war sound, or the Q-U-A-R, which also makes the U-A-R together makes an or sound, quarters and quartz. So most of our words start with W this week. Today you're going to be writing the W-A, W-A-R, or Q-U-A-R words in the very top to figure out which ones. Number 2 is kind of tricky because there are 2 possible answers, either one of which are correct. And then you're going to write a spelling word to complete each sentence, and then write the letter of the correct meaning beside each word. So you're going to match up the words 16 through 20 through the definitions. Just write A, B, C, D, E in the blanks there. For our memory words this week, country, America, and country. The in country is spelled O-U. It's rather an odd spelling, so that's why you have to write that. That has to be a memory word, because O-U doesn't usually spell an sound. And then America, may remember that it is capitalized because it is the name of a specific place. In this case, there could be, America could refer to one of 3 places: North America, Central America, or South America. So you've got those memory words. Moving on to our English. Yesterday we had 2 subjects. If you remember, we had our horse, and beautiful Beulah here. Today we have 1 subject and 2 predicates joined by the conjunction and. Okay? Whoops, daisy. All right. So this is beautiful Beulah. Our sentence is: beautiful Beulah sits and waits patiently. So we got to figure out how to diagram this sentence. You're going to be diagramming double predicates. So you've got compound. Compound means more than 1 predicates. So you've got sits is one verb, waits is another verb, and we're going to have to figure out how you do it. You might have already figured out that it's very similar to the predicate to the compound subjects. In this case, we have one line drawn for our subject. Beulah is the dog's name, and beautiful describes as an adjective describing Beulah, so it goes on that angled line underneath Beulah. And then we've got our vertical line here that divides the subject from the predicate. What is Beulah doing? She sits, and the dotted line there, and goes between the roof of your little house here and the floor there that we dotted, and waits patiently. If we had said beautiful Beulah sits quietly and waits patiently, quietly would go under sits because it tells how she sits. Patiently tells how she waits. Okay? So, we're doing compound predicate today, so you're going to have the double on the predicate side, the double lines on the predicate side of this. If you had more than two predicates, then you would just have lines going out from here, joining all this part of the predicate, okay? So right now we're just going to deal with two predicates, so we're not going to get more complicated than that in third grade. So, subject, two verbs. The adjective is underneath the subject describing the noun. The adverb is underneath one of the verbs and describing how she waits. Oops, I just erased that. Patiently. All right, so that's our English for the day, and I hope that you were enjoying that. I enjoyed diagramming sentences just because it's like a great big jigsaw puzzle. Every word has a purpose, and you can figure out that those words, what the purpose of the words are when you diagram. It's very important. All right, moving right along. In reading today, we're thinking about cause and effect. We're reading the story Saved. You're reading pages 367 to 371 on the story of Saved, and it's the very first part of the story. Come on, Philippi. There we go. It's the same story we just had, and in case you, just like we've done before in the past, yesterday was the Bible story without any additions and characters or anything like that. You just had what was from the Bible. Today is a biblical fiction story. It's a story that is taken from the Bible, but they've added characters. They've put names to characters that aren't necessarily in the Bible, and they're adding more details that probably somebody's guessing at. So it probably did not happen that way, but we get an idea, and it's but it keeps within the time period of that of this Bible story, and it keeps within the parameters of what would have been possible in that time period. So, did it really happen exactly this way? No. This is somebody's using their imagination to explain how this Bible story could have looked. We're going to be studying cause and effect. Remember, the cause of an event is why it happens. The effect is what happens. What happens. So, cause is why, and the effect is what happens. The cause of our homeschooling for the past 7 weeks, or 6 weeks, and this is week 7. The cause is because of the complications of COVID-19. The effect is that we are at home, learning from home instead of at school. So think as you read. What do you think the story is about? Explain. Okay, Philippi and Saved are written from two different points of view. Philippi was written from the book, from Luke's point of view, and then Saved is from an author. This is by Robert E. Scroggins, and this is his point of his. He wrote the story, and he wrote it from the point of view of a person who lived in Philippi. His name was Clement. Moving right along, so you'll have a workbook page front and back to do with that today. Then moving right along with our cursive. You're writing the report about the scarlet tanager today, and then that will be all of our cursive that we do for the year. So we just had the top part about the scarlet tanager and the bottom part about the report. And as I was taking a walk today, I was excited because I actually saw a scarlet tanager. I was so excited to see one. Was not quick enough with my camera to get out and get a picture because it flew away rather, sat in a branch just to look at me for a second, and then it flew away rather quickly as I tried to reach back and grab my phone and get a picture of it. But Fee and I also saw a pileated woodpecker in our backyard. They're a great big woodpecker. But so I thought about you and your bird watching. Moving on to history, we are studying what they call maritime warfare. Maritime refers to the ocean. So this is maritime. These are ships. What was going on at sea during the Civil War, and there were some sea battles that took place. First of all, there was a blockade, and you're going to read about what a blockade is on page 258. It's when they're blocking ships from going someplace. So the North had more naval ships. They blocked the South from getting any ships from getting supplies or carrying things, ammunition, food, things like that to the South. And at first it was a very loose blockade, and the Southerners were able to run the blockade quickly, especially at night, to get things through. But as the North built more ships, then the blockade got tighter, and it was not as easy to do that. They built ships, but they had ships before that. But this is first discovered over in Europe, and then the first battle between this type of ship was fought in the Civil War. And those were ironclad ships. And what they did is they took a regular ship, and then they covered the deck and just the sides of the ship in 2 to 3 inch sheets of metal, and riveted it together. And then, so they were very heavy, but they still floated. And that was amazing to most everybody. And then eventually they built guns on the top that they could turn. They called it a turret. So they could turn this great big circle, and the cannon could shoot from different directions on the top of the ship. Both the North and the South built these ironclad ships, and the first battle between the two of them was a draw because neither one of them could be pierced by the cannon that the other had. So they were called the battle between the Monitor and the Merrimack, and that was a Northern ship and a Confederate ship, and it was fought in a bay in Virginia. They also made these ships. They made another one down in South Carolina. It was pretty amazing. They constructed it in a cornfield at night to try and hide it from the North. So, and that ship destroyed several Northern ships as well. All right, so you're going to read about that, and there's also a short video about those ironclad ships that you can watch, and I would appreciate you watching that. Science, we have what are minerals? Minerals are not all alike. Minerals are things that are found in nature, and they are in a solid form. And that we use minerals every day. So you're going to read on page 156 and 157 some characteristics of minerals. They talk about hardness, the crystal shape, and the color, and the streak. And there are two other things that they don't go into in our book about luster. That means how shiny it is. And about cleavage, how it breaks, how the rock breaks. And that's what scientists study. And your video will go into a little bit more of that. And there are different ways that they test it, and there's different ways that they measure it. They measure it on a Mohs scale. Talc is the softest one. That's what they use to make talcum powder or baby powder out of it. They grind it up. And a diamond is the hardest, and they rate them from 1 to 10. And you can figure out, one of the things you can figure out is how hard they are using a scratch test. So there's different things that a lot of minerals look alike, and there's different tests that they can use, that scientists use to tell which kind of, how they are different. You have some workbook pages to do. Not today. Today you're going to send me a text. You're going to go look through your house and see if you can find a mineral. And I gave the example I found iron is listed in our spaghetti. So we eat the iron. Our body needs iron in order to keep our red blood cells healthy. So that's what we that's one example of a mineral that's in our house. So send me a text about a mineral that you find in your food or in your house, and how we use it in soaps and different things like that. And you guys have a good day, and I miss you. I hope to see you around soon. It was good to see several of you today, and I look forward to the day when I can just give you a great big hug. Bye.